And we're starting with Stephanie Petrou, talking about anxiety. Imagine someone having anxiety being on stage. So, rethinking anxiety, in fact.
Sweaty palms, heart racing, stomach twisting. Sound familiar? Doesn't this sound like a very cliché way of describing anxiety or nervousness? I want to invite you all to think of a time where you were truly anxious or nervous. Maybe before an exam, competitions, or even a job interview. Was your brain playing out every worst-case scenario possible, or is that just me? As a child, I was always trying to control the situation by planning out all the possible outcomes, so that my anxiety would not be able to take over. I thought I could prevent rejection, failure, or even disappointment, but I would often end up feeling more stressed than I did before. There were many situations which I couldn't control, such as the time when I was 5 years old and my mother and I were at a shopping center in Zurich. She had left me at a kids' care center. And as a few hours went by, the weather began to worsen, lightning began to strike, and thunder echoed the walls. I began to feel worried and decided to call my mom using the supervisor's phone. However, after multiple attempts, she did not answer. This only caused me to worry even more. And then, it happened. I had my first ever panic attack. At the time, I was so confused as to what was happening to me. I just felt as if I was suffocating. But that moment shaped me. For a while after, I was unable to even go to school without being anxious. I was terrified of being left alone. As I grew older, I tried even harder to control the world around me, believing that if I held on tightly enough, I could stop fear from creeping in. But here's a truth that I had learned. Control is an illusion. It doesn't exist. We never really have control over a situation. There are always multiple scenarios that could happen from a single event. Therefore, it was imperative for me to learn not to try and control the situation or let the thousands of possibilities scare me, but rather allow it to unfold and shift the way I perceived it. Over time, I've realized that the more we grip onto things, such as other people's opinions about us, and the more we try and control our lives, the more anxious and exhausted we end up becoming. So, what if the key to feeling peace isn't holding on, but, in fact, learning how to let go and letting things flow by themselves? Let me share an interesting fact with you. According to the website De Novo Recovery, biologically, the emotions of anxiety and excitement are the same. They trigger the exact same physiological response. Our breath and heart rate quicken, adrenaline floods our system. Our body, in fact, cannot tell the difference between fear and anticipation. The only difference is what we tell ourselves. Anxiety is a negative emotion, whereas excitement is a positive one. But if they're physiologically the same, why does anxiety make us feel so terrible? According to the Oxford Dictionary, the definition of anxiety is a feeling of worry or unease about something with an uncertain outcome. It is a way in which our body warns us that we might be in danger or that something may turn out differently to what we wanted or anticipated it to. Harvard scientists have proven that by using a mantra, a change in mindset and perspective can be achieved by saying something as simple as, "I'm excited," instead of, "I'm nervous," which is exactly what I did before I got on stage. Therefore, we can reframe our anxiety into excitement and increase our confidence and even boost our performance under pressure. Using mantras goes hand in hand with learning how to shift my mindset. In order to do this, I had to first recognize and acknowledge where the anxiety stemmed from, and then try and turn it into something positive, which I obviously became better at over time. To shift my mindset in stressful situations, I remind myself that my fear is just a warning system, which is often a complete overreaction, and that everything's going to be okay. And I do that every single time. It's gonna be okay, you can do this. By doing this, I helped build more self-trust to be able to handle difficult situations with less stress. I've come to realize that inner peace doesn't come from trying to control our emotions, but rather from changing the way we view them. What if, instead of fearing the unknown, we start seeing it as a space of infinite possibilities? By becoming less anxious, we allow more doors to open for us, and therefore sometimes things may even turn out better than what we could have hoped for. Sometimes I still struggle to be fully calm. I may not even know why I feel stressed, but the level and frequency of stress are nowhere near as much as they used to be. Anyone here never felt stressed before an exam? Yeah, that's what I thought. I would be so anxious the night before an exam, I wouldn't be able to sleep. And sometimes, the morning of, I would even throw up. This would happen even though I would spend countless days and nights studying for it. This just goes to show how important it really was for me to learn how to shift my mindset and trust myself more. When I stopped fighting the feeling and started using it to help me when I needed it, I performed better, without letting it consume me. Peace doesn't come from completely eliminating anxiety, but rather from understanding and accepting it. So, what if instead of resisting uncertainty, we embraced it? What if instead of needing control, we learned to let go and trust? Trust ourselves and the process, and trust that even in the unknown, we will still be okay. Because the truth is, anxiety and excitement are the same. One holds you back and the other pushes you forward. Maybe it's time for all of us to let go more. Thank you.